Okay, so good evening, everybody. And it's lovely to be with you again and to welcome you to this next Dive In with Dom. So, we're going to dive into our inner world, into this rich ocean of our inner world. And this year, we're doing a series focusing on each of the different levels. So it turns out our inner world one way to look at it is as having a whole lot of different levels from the surface all the way down to the depths. And so each month we're touching on a different layer of this inner world to find out about it, to talk about it, to see how we inquire with it. And yeah, maybe to get you a little interested in it. Each of them has their, its own little so it has own little quirks, but the reasons that we go to it and the reasons that we go away from it. So we're going to take a little time to look at all of that this evening. So, as you know, this is a public session, so we will be recording this video. It will be shared on our Dive In Inquiry channel on YouTube. And you can go and see the whole library of past recordings there, including the ones where we touched on the earlier sort of or more surface layers of the inner world in this series. So we have already talked a bit about life on the shores, the whole sort of outer world that we interact with, that our inner life forms the context for our inner life. And we've started talking about how that affects us in an immediate way, the feelings and thoughts and impulses that come up within us in relation to our lives. So this evening, we're going to go a little deeper into the next layer that I call the sunlit waters. So these are the realms of our inner world that are lit by our ordinary daily awareness, day-to-day awareness, the things that, make up the normal everyday flow of your inner life. So that's our topic for today. We're recording it. Everything that goes on in this main room is recorded, and we'll share it on YouTube. At some point, there'll be an opportunity to do an exercise. And if you'd like to do that little inquiry exercise, you'll do that in a breakout room, and that breakout room won't be recorded. That's just confidential for you and your inquiry partners. One of the things about this forum is that we have people of all experience levels. So there are people who are totally new to inquiry and people who've been inquiring for many, many years. So you could find yourself with somebody at any of those levels, and it's all interesting, right? It's all an opportunity to learn about how this practice grows and develops. So, yeah, I think without further ado, we're going to start with a short practice. So in our practice, our whole practice of inquiry is really entering our inner world, getting close to it, finding out what's there. And one way we can begin that process is with a meditation. So let's begin with a short meditation. So I'll invite you to find a comfortable position. So you want to be seated in such a way that your posture is stable, your spine can be relaxed and upright and alert, not falling asleep. And take a moment to just sense yourself sitting like this. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel your lower body, your bum in the chair. Let yourself land here. This is where you are. You've made the time to come along and to learn something about yourself, about your inner world. So just feel yourself settling here. You might notice and sense your spine rising up from your seat. Sense each vertebra. If you let yourself sense up your spine, the curve of your spine. And then feel your head floating atop your spine, poised there, lightly. You might sense the top of your head, and then come over down the front and sense your face. Right, relax any tension in your eyes that you can let go of. Relax your mouth. Take a nice breath. And then invite your attention down into your torso. Feel the movement of your breath for a couple of breaths. The rise and fall of your ribs, of your belly. So you're sensing, you're connecting with your sensate experience, with the sensations of your body. And you can have one hand resting in the other and place them both over your lower belly. Feel into the sensations of that lower belly. What can you sense there under your hands? And it might be something very ordinary, like the warmth of your hand, the pressure of your hand, the movement of your belly as you breathe. See if you can get interested in this place. It's not supposed to find anything. You can't do this wrong. There's no right or wrong here. But you are taking the time to let yourself sense a particular area of your body, this lower belly. Feeling the very ordinary movement of that area as you breathe. Perhaps the fullness of your belly if you just ate. You don't have to go looking for anything strange or unusual. See what you sense there. And you might find something different. You might sense energy, presence. You might feel some kind of stillness there, some kind of groundedness. So just be open to whatever you find and let your attention rest and stay focused on that area for a few minutes.
Dominic, you're muted.
Ah, muted. Okay. So as we come to the end of the meditation, notice what you're sensing in your belly now. How is that feeling to you now? Is it the same as when you started? Is it different? And what's been the effect on your overall state of taking a few minutes to just concentrate on that area? So you just notice. There's no right or wrong answer. Inquiry is always about just what's actually true for you. Whatever it is that's actually going on for you, actually arising in your experience. And then you can let your awareness spread out through your body, sensing your arms and legs. These ordinary sensations of your body, sitting in the chair, consciously sensing your body, consciously inhabiting your body. And now notice, how are you feeling? If you get in touch with your feeling, the feeling layer of your experience, the emotional tone, or the mood, the affect, the feeling that's present right now. Whether it's boredom or frustration, or peace or curiosity. It doesn't matter so much what it is, but just notice that feeling layer. What's happening there for you? What's it like to get a little more in touch with it, to just notice it a little more? Maybe to find a word to describe it. Yeah, what's the word or two that describes how you're feeling? Now, notice how your mind is. Like, what's happening in your mind? Is there some kind of commentary going on? Are you noticing what you're feeling and being curious about it and recognizing it and interested in it? Is your mind engaged in that? Is there some commentary or some judgment? Judging yourself or judging me, judging what's going on here? Is there some preoccupation, something that's going on in your life, perhaps, that's on your mind? So if you don't try to change your mind or make it, again, be any way or the other, but you're just noticing, how is it? What's on it? What is your mind conscious of and making meaning of in the moment? So sensing, feeling, and knowing, recognizing, recognizing what's here, what's going on. And then add listening, conscious listening, hearing the sounds of your environment, all background sounds, sounds of the meeting. And when you're ready to, you can add looking. So let your eyes gently open. Begin taking in your visual experience, the sights and sounds, the sights rather, of your environment, colors and shapes, space, light. So in the moment, sensing, feeling, recognizing, meaning, listening, looking. So you're opening up these layers of your inner world, getting a little more in touch, a little more aware, a little more contact, a little more recognition of what's here, what's present. So how's that for you? What's that like? We started our exploration of the inner world at the surface. We started by looking at the context of life, everything that goes on in your life, right? Relationships, health, and money, and jobs, and interests, and politics, and the whole thing. Family, and pets, and houses, and all these things that make up the context, the outer setting for your inner life. And last time we looked at that inner life, we began to see that the kind of, if you like, the surface layer or the shores of the inner world is that part of your consciousness that is directly affected by your circumstances, by your life, the way that you get stirred up as you engage with life. And I don't mean stirred up in a bad way, right? We have feelings about things. We have ideas and thoughts and plans and, all of everything that happens in our engagement in life, our expectations and a lot of that we can feel as it's happening, right? So as you're going about your life, the shores of the inner world are that part of your consciousness that's just washing up against these life circumstances and interacting and responding directly. You walk in from your day and boom, there you are, right? All the things that are on your mind, in your heart, and that you're feeling and expecting and all of this. So this is a beautiful layer of the inner world, this very rich layer of the direct engagement with life. And it is just the beginning. It is just the entry, right? Your inner life is far vaster than just the immediate direct interactions and feelings that you have as you go about your life. Right? You have a whole inner world, a whole inner life with a life of its own that's been growing and experiencing things and has its own innate thrust developing through the course of your life. You can look back over your life and see your whole, inner life. You're probably not the same person that you were, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago. And all of that is kind of indicative of this inner life, this inner aliveness of what in the Diamond Approach we call our soul, without meaning it in a religious way. We just mean that living consciousness that we are. So I was thinking it's a bit unfortunate the word I chose when I was naming this talk. I spoke about the sunlit waters of familiar experience. And when I say familiar experience, that makes it sound like it's something that's, oh, it's familiar. Like I know that. Nothing to find out there, right? And it couldn't be further from the truth. Right? But what I mean is it's the kind of inner experience that we recognize from day to day in a life. When I talk about the sunlit waters, I'm talking about the usual kinds of emotional, mental, physical, sensate experiences that really make up, most of what, for most people, comprises most of their inner life, or certainly most of what they talk about. Because a lot of the things that are deeper within, experiences, direct experiences of your consciousness, say, or direct experiences of like early young structures, we're going to get to that and talk about that. But for most people, as they're just going about their lives, these are not the things that are, they're not the things that you sit down with your friend at the pub and talk about, you know? They're not the things that you sit down with your partner and you say, well, had this interesting experience of like a big black hole in my belly. That ever happened to you? Right? So these are more unusual, unfamiliar kind of experiences. But you might sit down and talk about it, how sad you are about something, or how you have this idea about yourself, or belief about, or how you're struggling in your life. And so all of these are the more regular, conventional kind of inner life. So this inner life is vast, a vast, amazing, rich realm of all of your feelings, your thoughts and ideas and inner dialogues and narratives, the things you know and believe about things, the impulses and habits and ways that you go about living your life, things you want to do, the ways you express yourself. All of these things kind of are, part of the so-called normal inner life, the sunlit waters. And for most people, a lot of the time, what they're doing is just doing it. Right? You're doing it. You're sad about something, you just kind of act on it, or you're angry with someone, so you cut them off and don't speak to them. You think you're just this kind of person. I'm just somebody who likes to stay at home and doesn't go out much. That's just how I am, so I just do it. And with inquiry, we're doing something fundamentally different. Right? We're getting interested in it. We're curious about it. We want to get to know ourselves. We want to get to know what we feel and what it's like to feel that and what it's about. We want to know, what do we think? What do we believe? What is that story that I keep telling myself? What are the things that I like to do? How do I like to express myself? Right? The things I don't like to do. So we can see this as two levels. There is the first level of getting to know the what of all these different parts of ourselves. I mean, if we just think about the feeling level, like how much of your feeling life do you know? Are you curious about? Do you spend time with your sadness or your frustration? Do you spend time with what makes you happy? Do you spend time with what you enjoy and recognize, oh, wow, I'm really enjoying this. Like I can really feel how much I enjoy doing this. So these things can start off connected with our lives, connected with the shores. Like you might notice, oh, okay, I had a conversation with my friend and I felt kind of a little melancholy after it. Right? So just to notice that, to take the time to recognize, oh, that's the feeling that I'm having. This already is a step, right? A big step of waking up to the feeling or waking up to the idea. But then we go further. We don't just wake up to it and see, well, what am I feeling? We get curious. Like, oh, how come? Well, I wonder how come I'm feeling like that? What's making me feel melancholy? And you sort of feel into it, and then you realize, oh, I kind of feel like I haven't been really close to them for some time, and I miss that. Right? I haven't spent some really good time with my friend, and I really miss it. Right? So now you've gone from something that was the first most obvious thing, and you're beginning to look into it. You're beginning to see, okay, what is this actually about? What is making this happen? And then as you sit with your melancholy, you sort of feel that and you recognize, oh, I miss that contact with them. I haven't spent time with them. I really want to spend time with them. Maybe you didn't see that before. Right? So that can be a whole revelation. So each step, you're recognizing something new. And then you wonder, well, how come I want to spend time with them? Right? What's that about? And then you feel your heart and you realize, oh, I really care about them. I really love this person. I feel very close to them and I want to be close to them. Actually quite important to me. Or maybe you never actually fully recognize that. You just, at the surface on life, you go about having your friend and, you see them, you don't see them. You don't really notice how you feel about it. You like to hang out with them. But now, as you inquire more and more into it, you go just from that first reaction of how I felt today to beginning to recognize, oh, no, I have a heart here. Friends are really important to me. This friend is really important to me. I really care about them. I love them. You might continue the inquiry. Well, how come I love them? Like, what is it that I love about them? What makes me love them so much? You see, so you can take each experience, any experience, and you start from it. We usually just think, oh, it's just whatever, it's a feeling or it's a thought that I have. But to actually take it and to take the time to see what it is, like what is that actually, and to feel it and to be close to it and to be curious about it, about what it is or what's making it happen. So this will begin to lead us from those surface layers, from those shores that are just all about exactly what's going on in life and how it's affecting us in the moment. It begins to lead us step by step, deeper and deeper into our interiority, deeper into what is more true for us, more significant. So just using that example, once you've begun to feel and sense the meaning and the significance of your friendship in this way, right, that you'll feel very differently in the relationship, right? You'll value it differently. You'll care about it differently because you've recognized more truly, you've begun to recognize, let's say, because even that is only a beginning, more truly what it is for you. So it's anything. Basically, you can start from anything in your outer life and you can follow it from the shores into these more, yes, they're familiar. Yes, they're the normal kinds of feelings and thoughts and sensations. But there is a whole world there, a whole rich world of layers and feelings and meanings and fears. And then suddenly, as you realize, oh, I care about this person so much. You might suddenly find, oh, I actually start to get a bit anxious about that. Right? So another feeling pops up. Oh, and then you can wonder, well, how come I'm getting anxious now? What's that about? Then you realize, well, I'm not sure if they feel the same way. What if they don't feel the same way? And there's some kind of anxiety or fear, and you get to explore that. I remember there's a clip of Patsy from Ab Fab, Absolutely Fabulous. Those of you who may know her, she's being interviewed and she says, I don't really see much point of introspection. Like there's nothing in there to see. Pretty shallow, really. Short journey. I've been myself my whole life. Nothing more to discover. And, it's hard to tell whether she's just hamming it up or being serious. But it, of course, couldn't be further from the truth. Right? Because all of these things, these ideas and beliefs that we have that are shaping our how we live and also just bubbling up from within us. There is so much to discover there. There is so much richness. And if we're just living it, we're just acting on it, we're identified with it and doing it, we're not actually pausing to stop and feel and recognize and sense the truth of it. It just has a momentum that runs by itself, and that tends to just carry on doing the same thing, the same kind of patterns. Whereas when we start to look at them and to feel them and to recognize the actual significance and the truth of what is going on there for us, that begins a whole process of unfolding and development. An unfolding that will take us little by little deeper into our inner world, deeper into this vast ocean of our truth. The sunlit waters, I've talked about it now kind of coming from the surface, as if you are somebody who is still discovering your inner world, and I'm kind of trying to tweak your interest in exploring this territory. And we can come at it from the other side too. So people who have been inquiring for a long time, people who have deep spiritual experience, maybe they've experienced presence, experiences of consciousness, experiences of emptiness, all kinds of deep inner experiences, deep experiences of their conditioning and their inner child, all of this stuff, right? All these, again, very valuable, important things. Another thing that I notice is that they can tend to or diminish these sunlit waters, as if the sunlit waters are no longer that interesting. We want to be with the essence. We want to be with the presence. We want to be with the emptiness or the vastness. If you discovered some kind of non-dual experience, you want to be with the non-duality. What you don't want to be with are just your day-to-day emotions or the day-to-day dialogue in your head or the day-to-day habits of like what comes up as you're preparing your breakfast, or, how are you in the traffic? So the kind of day-to-day stuff. And this too misses something very important, right? So even though those experiences of consciousness and of depth and of the deep contact with our, all these early and interesting and challenging potentials of our soul, as I say, are important, the more ordinary kind of experiences, the emotional reactions, the ideas and opinions that you have that you don't want to shift, that you don't want to change, the patterns of reactivity that keep happening year after year after year after year, and you just don't want to look at it, right? You don't want to inquire into it. These are also very rich opportunities, right? Very rich opportunities for inquiry. Often what we'll see is that what starts off looking like just ordinary day-to-day experience itself will turn out to be gateways into even deeper things. And we'll talk about that more as we continue. But if you bypass that day-to-day level, if you don't want to deal with your ordinary emotions or your opinions and your ideas and your sort of beliefs about yourself or your beliefs about your situation, you don't want to take the time to actually look at those and see what they are, right? Certain parts of your inner world are just not going to open up. They're not going to open up in the same way. So really, this is a realm to enter into, to embrace, to explore, to get to know. If you're new to it, you just think about the world of your feelings, like how much there is to find out there. Anger, hatred and boredom and love and enjoyment and excitement and sadness and anxiety and fear. It's like, it's each of those things, maybe I don't say a lifetime worth of exploration, but certainly a big chunk of exploration, so much to find out there. The last thing I want to say about this particular realm is that, as I mentioned, a lot of things get stirred up in us in the course of our lives. And if you have a very busy life, especially families and kids and jobs and, all of this kind of stuff, it's a lot. It's a lot. It doesn't leave a lot of room, a lot of space. And so then a lot of times the entry point for our inquiry will be our life, the responses and reactions that we're having to our life, and then diving down deeper and deeper into those. And we will come through those into these sunlit waters that are not just about life, right? Where we're finding more of our own interiority, of our own thoughts and wishes and impulses, our own feelings, and the meaning we make of things at a bigger scale than just, I'm really happy with how my garden is looking, right? So we're following it from that surface level deeper and deeper into what is more significant, more interior to us. And if you are someone who has the luxury of space, you have the luxury of the time and the space to actually just hang out with yourself, to just sit down and you inquire and you're like, well, I don't know nothing from my life is really drawing me right now. I just want to kind of feel more into myself or find out more about what's here for myself. Or, I've been wondering about some particular something that I'm curious about, like whether it's some sort of openness or some more deeper sense of my interiority. The point is that we may be drawn to things that are not just about what's happening at the surface. And the more you have space in your life, the more you have space for things like meditation, if you have space to just have a quiet morning. For many people, that's an amazing luxury to have a quiet morning, nothing to really do, but to just be close to yourself, right? See what comes up, see what bubbles up for you, see where are you, what is up for you when it's not just about getting through the day. So the more we make that kind of time, the greater the chance that these sunlit waters will open up more and more. Right? We'll discover more and more of our inner life beyond the direct engagement with our outer life. So that's a lovely thing if you have the possibility to do that. So I think I've said enough to kind of zoom into this zone. We really are talking about what the man in the street, what anybody who is, has some sense of their inner life would think of as their emotions, their thoughts, their impulses, the sensations in their body. We're talking about that. It's familiar in the sense that it's kind of regular day to day. It's not exotic. It's not weird and wonderful. Right? It is wonderful. It's the beautiful inner life of a human being. So let's take a little time to look into that. So what you're going to do for the exercise, you're going to get in groups of 3. And I want you to just look into this part of your life, this part of your inner world. What sort of feelings are up for you these days? What kind of thoughts or beliefs? What's the meaning that you're making either of what's going on in your life or just of where you are. Right? What does it mean to you? What do you sense in your body? If you're just sensing the ordinary sensations of your body, what do you find? So it's really just an invitation to look into these sunlit waters, to spend 5 minutes with yourself and just feel what's here. Take the time to recognize it, to see it. What are you thinking about? What's on your mind? Is it something from your life? Is it something directly connected with the circumstance? Is it something else? Is there some other thread that's drawing you that you're sort of involved with or preoccupied with? So 5 minutes, not a lot of time, but it's enough time to take a peek. Right? So each person will have 5 minutes in groups of three. The other two people, of course, are just silent witnesses. So you're just there, you're just listening to, it's like you're getting a chance to peek into this layer of another person's inner world and see what's there. Right? See what's there in their feelings and their sensations and on their mind. Right? It's a beautiful privilege, amazing thing to be able to do. Right, so we'll do that, 15 minutes. You'll have an extra couple of minutes just to say hi, introduce yourselves, and we'll come back here in 20 minutes from now. So that will be at 35, so 25 to the next hour. Good, so enjoy the dive, enjoy the little swim around, and see you when you get back. All right, so welcome back onto the shores. And so let's hear a bit about it. I'm curious to hear how that was for you. How is it to contemplate the sunlit waters of your inner world? What did you discover, or where are you now? So if you have a question, you can raise your electronic hand, something you'd like to share or say or ask. Or just share what happened in the breakout room. Yeah, what happened in your exercise.
That's not an electronic hand, but it's a hand.
It is a hand, Diana.
Hi. I don't know how to do the electronic hand. Anyway, I just wanted to comment that I find these short inquiries, I can get deeper than I would in a longer inquiry. And I'm curious about that because it happens for me in the morning meditations as well. That we get 7 minutes after the meditation.
Yeah.
And I find those really powerful. Often if I'm inquiring for 15 minutes, I just get lost in verbiage, basically.
See, that's really interesting. So, and yet something, so when you say it was powerful, like what do you mean? What made it powerful?
Oh, I feel that I touch into more sense of the center of myself rather than rambling on, maybe.
Well, that's interesting. What's that like? How is that for you?
Sorry?
How is that for you? What's that like?
Oh, I'd much rather have something a bit deeper come up than wander around a subject.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So in the short inquiry, you're saying you feel like you do actually touch into something, whereas at other times, you find yourself more wandering around in some way?
Yes, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Maybe it is that these shorter inquiries are with somebody I've never met before. Because if I'm inquiring with somebody that I know, I think the object relations get in the way.
Ah, okay. So I'm kind of glad you said that, right? Because, of course, if the object relations start getting in the way, then of course they are the thing to inquire into, right?
Yeah.
So, in a sense, what might be interesting, so I mean, there's so much to explore here in what you've said, right? So, what makes the difference between being with people you don't know and being with people you do know? There's something to really feel into and find out there, right? And then, of course, if you are with somebody that you know and some kind of object relation or reaction shows up, to include that in your inquiry, to be as curious about that, right? And that's something we're going to talk more about as we get sort of deeper into our inner world. But I think you're touching on something very important there. Well, I mean, even object relations are, can show up in the sunlit waters just as, the normal reactions that we have, like, well, I'm this kind of person and they're that kind of person, or they don't like me, or they're not interested in what I'm saying. What is the object relation, just out of interest? Is there one common one that shows up for you?
I would have to think about that.
Okay.
It's something about wanting approval.
Okay.
So particularly from somebody that I know and can interact with on an everyday level.
Yes.
I feel inhibited about. I don't know, or I hand over too much power to the other person, in a sense.
Okay. How is it to see that?
Oh, Dom, you always ask this question, and what do you mean, how do you feel that? How do I?
Oh, no, I just mean how, as you recognize, oh, that's what happens, right? That's the thing.
Yeah, it's good to explore that.
Yeah.
But I'm very aware of it, actually. It's not like it's a new realization.
Right. Okay. So you recognize there's this pattern that kind of hangs around. Right. Yeah. So again, so much depends on what we do with that, right? So if you take that to mean like, oh, it's this pattern again, I know this, it's always here, it's always the same thing, that will in some way stop you turning more and more towards it, right? To go, well, okay, but so how do I feel it? What is making this come up now, right? How come it's showing up again? And that's then where your inquiry can begin to deepen into it. Yeah. And, I mean, just to say it is challenging. And, especially when we've been in the work for so long, right? And then we find these kind of persistent object relations that kind of hang around for years and years, one can get despondent, but it really is something to, if possible, approach fresh, if you can find that. I would be curious about it, because it means there's something still to discover there. Something keeping it in place.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Diana. Thank you for sharing that. Thanks for your question. And then we have Marie.
Marie.
Hi, Marie.
I was quite sick with type A flu for about 3.5 weeks, and then I'm just now slowly getting back. And I was talking about that, and because what happened, both when I was ill, I was very aware of how I had no control over this horrible feeling. I wasn't close to death, but I was thinking about it all the time. It's like, oh my goodness, is this what it would be like knowing this is the end? And then as I started getting better, I mean, I was flat out. And then as I was starting getting better, I noticed the energy, and I was starting to sit up. And then right at the end of this inquiry, this very strong image of a train came up that I've inquired about this several times. This has never happened, but of being on this, going this way, like when I was flat out and I couldn't do anything but lay there and being very aware of that. And then this other energy that came in, and it was about being on this train, both directions, that I had a very powerful, and then I was in total, not in control of either one. I mean, I couldn't help when I was going out and being very, very sick and couldn't do anything but just lay there and lay there and lay there and think about dying. And then I could actually feel, at that time, I didn't feel about the train. That only came just this, this few moments ago, of like, oh, I could feel the, as it were, the energy or the train coming back. And it was a very, very strong image. And it makes me, even getting touched that, I don't know what that is, but I feel it's so strong, both of those feelings.
So take a moment with that. So if you feel something about the strength of it,
Yeah.
just take a breath and feel it. Oh, what's it like to recognize that?
Um, I'm a pretty controlling in there, doing, strong person. And this is like the opposite of that. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
it's like being on that train, and I couldn't help going that way. Being
Right.
sick, couldn't do anything for so long,
Yeah.
nor was I in control of coming back. And
Right.
I
So
feel both very powerfully. And it's like, in one way, I'm glad something else is in control, because if it were up to me, that would really be chaos. And maybe that's anyway. I I don't know what to do with this image. It's quite strong.
okay, so there's an image, right? You have the image, and it's bringing up feelings for you,
Mm.
right? Feeling. What are you sensing in your body as the image is here and the feelings? Like, what do you sense? What's happening in your body?
Yeah, I feel kind of trembly. Like, ooh,
Uh-oh.
what is this? Because it's so strong, and so I feel very kind of warm in my chest area, but in my belly, it's subsiding a little bit. But right at the beginning, as I was talking, that was kind of a sharp, more of a kind of a pain of like, whoa, this is powerful
Is it
stuff.
okay to just let it tremble a little if you just take a
Yeah,
breath
I
and
yeah, I feel very, very, very trembly and warm, of like there's
trembly?
a lot of energy here.
Okay, so breathe into the energy, feel the energy, feel the trembly, feel the warm. You just let all that happen.
Yeah, it feels very explosive. I mean, it's
Oh, okay.
like something that wants to blow up, like an old steam, like a old steam
Yeah.
that like the train's going and the smoke is going, and it's like,
Okay.
whoa.
Beautiful. So what you can see happening here, if you just feel that, right? So that image, that's a normal kind of image, right? The kind of image you might have, and this feeling of lots of energy. But now you're sensing something much deeper within yourself, right? As you sense it, you're sensing this energy itself, right? So what started off as just a normal kind of image,
Mm.
now revealing itself to be something actually much more than that. So feel that energy. If you feel that explosive rising up, what is that?
I don't know what it is, but it definitely feels, I can feel it coming up from my feet, up through my whole body, and I can
Uh-huh.
feel everything up until about here, and then this is kind of like nowhere.
Beautiful. So when I say what is it, I don't mean like give me a name for it or a label, but just describe it like you did, right? So you just describe, oh, it's, yeah, what can you say about it as you feel it, right? So it's coming up from your feet all the way to your neck. Yeah. And then what happens there? What's happening in your head?
My head's pretty vacant.
Good.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it's something kind of blowing out my ears in a way. This feels very light in compared to this rush of energy that's, coming up through my body, but my head feels very
Light and vacant.
lighter. Yeah.
Yeah. Does it feel good or does it not feel good? No.
It's okay. Yeah. The instant you asked me that, I thought, well, just cleaning stuff up. Maybe that's good. Yeah. Yeah. It feels like maybe there's
Sounds
a
like
maybe there's a big cleanser.
certainly a lot of energy,
Mm,
a lot of aliveness. And
yeah.
then this kind of empty vacancy in your head. But you seem to be doing fine with it. I mean, you can talk to me, you're feeling that emptiness and seems okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's good. Yeah, it's very it's difficult for me sometimes, and thank you for. I very often get a picture, an
Hmm.
image or something, and then it's like, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah, very good. Right.
Translate into.
So the sensing is really the thing, right? So we have the feelings, it was touching you, and you had the image, but the bit you were missing was the sensing. So as you brought that in, right, and you actually felt like, how do I feel this? How do I sense it in my body? That kind of opened up the whole process.
Yeah, thank
What's
you.
happening? Yeah, you're welcome. What's happening now?
Well, it feels better. It feels like, well, maybe I can stay on this train, whichever direction it takes me. Maybe going this way or that way or whatever. But it's okay. I mean, to be on. Okay, ride that train.
Right, that
Not that.
train. Very good. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Yeah. So you bring in something really important. I mean, we could do lifetimes of discussion on the sunlit waters, but the point that's useful to highlight from here is, we talk about it in terms of mind and heart and body, meanings, feelings, sensations. And you can see that to really enter these waters and engage them in our inquiry, we need to engage all of those centers. We need to be getting the meaning of it and recognizing what's going on, feeling the feelings and sensing the sensations. And when we've got all of that going on, then the experience really unfolds, becomes very dynamic. So that's beautiful. Thank you.
That's actually the scary part, is the
Right.
sense,
Is the sense.
the image and, understanding whatever, but, going with the sensation, yeah, that's where
uh,
it's, yeah,
Okay,
big
that's
stuff.
good. That's good to know, right? So then that's an area you want to find out what is scary about it, that'll be something to look into. How come that's scary for you?
Mm,
Hmm.
how to
Okay. Yeah, wonderful. Thanks. Who else? Anything else? I also love to hear from you if it didn't make sense to you, or if you had a hard time, or you had questions, so I'm very interested in that too. Something wasn't clear for you. Yeah, Marjorie, go ahead.
Yeah, I cannot find the electronic hand, but yeah, sometimes uh I'm wondering when you say there's something going on in your life and you take that as a subject or object, I don't know. You take that in the inquiry. It's not happening right now, so you take something which was this morning or yesterday, and then
Yes.
I think, but that's not what's happening now, and I feel a conflict about that.
Very good. Very good. So this is a very, I think, a very common question and something that's very important to understand, because otherwise you might end up thinking that I can only inquire into exactly the thing that's going on right here, right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's actually not true, right? That's just not the case. So the way you can think about it, like there's the whole inner world of your consciousness, and, you know, there may be something that happened yesterday or that happened 10 years ago, right? Could have happened, or it could be something that's going to happen in the future. And something about that is drawing you, has got your interest. This is another good example, actually, of the sunlit waters, right? So it's not the thing that's going on in your life right now, or the immediate thing that's arising in your consciousness. But what is arising in your consciousness is an interest in it, right? Or there's some draw to look at it, like, oh, I saw my friend the other day, and it had a real impact on me, and I want to look at that. And so there is something in your inner world that is calling you, that is inviting your inquiry, that you are curious about. That's happening now. Yeah, that is happening now. That's true. And what you can do is, if you follow that interest, you follow your curiosity, you can start talking about, well, what am I curious about? Okay, well, I'm curious about what happened. Okay, so what did happen? Well, this and this and this happened, and they said that, and I felt this, blah, blah, blah. And you can see what the story is, because that's all part of it. And you are talking about it now in the moment as you're exploring it. And then you can go, okay, so as I talk about that, what am I feeling now? What starts coming alive in me now? Oh, yeah, actually, I start to feel some of the feeling that I felt then, maybe, right? Or it starts having.
You let it unfold in the moment by talking. I'm sometimes I'm trying to feel what I felt, and
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So to try and take yourself back there, that can be, that sometimes it seems to work, but you don't have to do that, actually. What you can do is just talk about what is genuinely interesting you now. Like, what has got your attention? And then as you follow that thread and then talk about whatever it was that actually happened and was meaningful for you, that may begin stirring things within you, and then you could look over them. So in a certain way, what you're doing is, it's like there's your inner world and there are all these things within it. Some of them are not here, but you can swim over to them, right? You can swim over and get closer to it and begin talking about it like that. Are you in a diamond approach?
Yeah, the diamond, the Netherlands.
Well, there you go. I mean, anytime you do an exercise on a retreat, it's not necessarily the thing that's right there for you, is it? Right? It might be, but often it isn't.
Yeah.
But as you start talking about it, you get closer and closer to it. So it's exactly the same kind of thing. You can talk about something that isn't immediately here right now. And if there is something to look into, it will start coming alive in your consciousness. And then you can explore that, right? Then it becomes alive.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for the question. Good. Very good. Anything else? I think Susan will post details into the chat. Over these 3 sessions now, we've kind of covered the sunlit waters. And so in our next session, in a month's time, we're going to get a broad overview of the hidden depths. So this is where we'll start looking into those parts of our experience that are really not so obvious, that are not the things that you can just go and, talk about over a drink with your friend. That you just wouldn't think to go there, right? Unless you have engaged deeply into your inner world. And these are interesting things that pop out. And it turns out that as we explore the sunlit waters and we get closer and closer to our feelings and our ideas and expectations, reactions, the way that things in life are affecting us, as we get deeper and deeper into them, we begin to see that there is more to them than just meets the eye. It actually isn't just the superficial things going on or the impacts of our daily life or even just the usual ways that we think and feel about things, but there are deeper causes within our psyche, within our inner world, and that's where we'll be going next time. So thank you for coming along this time. If you do have any questions or things you would like to have addressed about the practice of inquiry or about the whole inner world in general, then please be invited to send them through. We love to hear from you. I always enjoy getting suggestions or comments or questions, and we try to work it into what we do in these sessions. So please, there's always that invitation. And if you would like to review any of the past materials, then remember they're all on the Dive In YouTube channel, so you can go and check them out there. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your interest in your truth and your inner world. And I wish you a rich explorations until we meet again.
Thank you, Dom.
Thank
Thank you, Dom. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Great.
you.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Dom.